The Nintendo Entertainment System needs no introduction. The system made Nintendo a household name, spawned sequels 30 years later, and for myself and many of you, was the greatest form of entertainment from our childhoods. So, on today's episode of 5 Games, we are going to take a look at 5 more great games for the NES. DuckTales is an iconic platformer from Capcom and beloved by many. You know this game is going to be good as soon as you reach the title screen. The classic cartoon theme song is faithfully recreated with the NES's limited hardware, and it sounds fantastic. That level of detail is found throughout the game. You take control of Scrooge McDuck, who travels around the world collecting treasure. The main gimmick is Scrooge can use his cane as a pogo stick of sorts. While in the air, pressing down will enable this gimmick, and you can then bounce on enemies, open treasure chests, and break down certain blocks. It's strange at first, but becomes second nature fairly quickly. However, what makes DuckTales so great are the levels. There are secret nooks and crannies everywhere, offering up extra health and bonus treasure. Not all levels are linear either, forcing you to explore to find the appropriate path out. While there are just 5 levels in all, their diversity and challenge makes for a great experience. Add in some truly iconic music, especially the Moon stage, and awesome 8-bit graphics, and you have one of the best third-party games on the system. Dr. Mario is a puzzle game from Nintendo, and despite being ported and enhanced about 1 million times since 1990, the NES original is still my favorite. What Dr. Mario does so well is manage to be unique, yet familiar at the same time. The game combines the matching mechanic that is so popular with today's casual puzzle games and mixes it with a touch of Tetris, forcing you to rotate and maneuver pieces around the board. Once you match 3 colors with a virus, they disappear and everything shifts downward. You can match viruses horizontally too, and as the board gets more dense, you have to think about how the extra medicine capsules are going to shift after you clear a virus. The pieces provided are random as well, and you have to be able to think quickly about what to do with unwanted medicine drops. I find the experience mesmerizing and a top 3 puzzle game for sure. Dr. Mario on the NES is a bare-bones release with just a single mode, plus 2-player, 3 different speeds, and 2 different musical tracks, but I really don't need anything else. Chill and Fever are some of my favorite music compositions found on the NES, and after listening to them thousands of times over, they have yet to wear out their welcome, just like Dr. Mario. Blades of Steel by Konami is one of those sports games that can be enjoyed by every video gamer. Like every great game, this starts with the controls. Blades of Steel is an absolute dream to play. Despite the primitive hardware, there is some real depth to the gameplay. Blades of Steel does an awesome job simulating the momentum of skates on ice. Changing directions is somewhat slow, requiring you to anticipate your opponents and react to where they will be rather than where they are. When you get it all right, the feeling is sensational, and Blades of Steel rewards you for your patience. The great gameplay is matched by smooth graphics and some terrific sound. The voice samples, hissing crowd, catchy jingles, and the whistle of the referees combine to create a unique audio experience. There is even a halftime show advertising Konami's other classic games, which is strange yet charming. Blades of Steel is a lot like NBA Jam. You don't need to like basketball games to love NBA Jam, and you don't need to like hockey games to enjoy Blades of Steel. The game is just pure fun and a must-own for the NES. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers is another awesome Capcom platformer for the NES, but for whatever reason has never quite matched the legacy of DuckTales. After selecting Chip or Dale, you are dropped into the game world. The sense of scale is terrific, and our chipmunk heroes look small compared to the world around them. The heart of the gameplay is the ability to pick up objects and throw them. Not only can you throw these left and right, you can toss them up and down, and this flexibility makes Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers a ton of fun. Another awesome feature is the ability to hide inside the object and watch enemies take damage when they run into you. It's quite satisfying. In addition to the great gameplay mechanics are the awesome levels. These are varied, taking you through the back alleys all the way to Fat Cat himself, and do a great job feeling like a Saturday morning cartoon. Even more impressive is the soundtrack. Capcom brought their A game, and at times, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers sounds more like a AAA Mega Man game than a forgotten licensed game. But beyond the technical achievements, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers is just a ton of fun and easy to recommend. And finally, we have The Legend of Zelda. This is one of the very first video games I ever laid my eyes on, and has shaped my perception of video games ever since. What Zelda does so well, especially for an 80s game, is create a living, breathing world to discover. It's like a sandbox game before sandbox games existed. You can bomb around Hyrule, killing enemies, collecting hearts and items, and beefing up Link before you ever step foot in a dungeon and start making progress. This freedom is the game's best asset, and perhaps its biggest downfall. There's almost no guidance or direction provided, and if you don't have the original pack-in map and instruction book, you'll definitely want to play this one with an online guide. While the overworld provides a ton of freedom, the dungeons are very intricate and structured. The light puzzle elements and gradual increase in difficulty provide a sense of progression, and for me, are the highlight of the game. I don't know if it's the music, the controls, or even the nostalgia, but every time I fire up The Legend of Zelda, I'm immediately transported back into a simpler time with no responsibilities, just the need to defeat Ganon and restore order to the world. Zelda is timeless and one of my all-time favorites. So there you have it, 5 more great games released for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, this is not a definitive list, nor is it intended to be a best of, and the NES has far, far more than 5 great games, so be sure to leave a comment and let me know which NES games you enjoy.